There's a common trend in this van. There are a lot of hidden features. Hidden charger underneath the countertop. On the glass, there's a film called Smart Tint. My name is Ravizza, and I just spent 9 months building Odyssey. Let's go take a look. If you guys have seen my last tour, you're gonna find a lot of similarities in this build, but this is a new and improved version of that van. I have increased counter space, the bed shrunk a little bit, and I've just added a lot of really cool features. Welcome to my kitchen. Let's just dive right into it. Right here I have French doors, and I have clothes on the right, and on the left I have wine glasses, cups, plates, bowls, and everything to make coffee. This is probably my favorite feature in the whole van and the centerpiece. These French doors have glass on them, and on the glass there's a film called Smart Tint, and when you click this button, the tint becomes opaque and you can no longer see through it. Pretty cool feature, and definitely one of my favorite parts of this van. Below the French doors I have 5 drawers. All of the faces in this cabinet are real hardwood, and I glued 4 pieces of walnut together. And then for the handles, I actually got this idea from a guy on Instagram. I took pieces of brass and I rounded the ends, and I was able to come up with my own handle for this guy. Moving on, I have an upper cabinet. This is just for some food storage. And then right here we have a KitchenAid air fryer. This thing also does baking, broil, toasting, bagels. So it's an all-in-one little oven here. Below is my control panel. This is just all my light switches, and got 2 charging ports here, so you're never going to be short of charging. I've decided to add some hand towels in this little cubby. It's the linen feel hand towels. A cool feature in this section is a hidden charger underneath the countertop, so you just place it right over this area and you get some charging right here. Moving over, we just have the sink, filtered water on the left, and then a soap dispenser. Moving over here, we have 2 more upper cabinets. That's just for some more food storage. And this side is where I will be doing most of my food preparation and cooking. There's a dual burner induction cooktop. I went with induction in this van because I wanted to avoid using gas or propane for a number of reasons, and one being having to refill those, and also a potential for fire hazard. So I went with induction, and I have a massive 1200 amp hour battery bank. That is part of the reason why my electrical system is so big, is so I can run systems like this induction and also this KitchenAid oven. And then below that we have 3 drawers, and this is where I keep all my pots and pans. The fridge I went with is a Dometic 140 liter. So conventionally people do 110, and this is just a huge upgrade from that. It can supply about 2 weeks of food on the road, which is more than enough. Moving back, I have a 4-story pantry, and the top is where I keep all my silverwares, my spatulas, and my knives. And then below that, we just have an array of food. Over here, we have a full standing hidden wine wall. There's a common trend in this van. There are a lot of hidden features, and I try to keep them pretty low profile. This wall takes the lead for hidden features in this van. I tried to cater to any gathering. On the top we have wine, in the middle champagne for special occasions, and then on the bottom we have whiskey and margaritas. The biggest feature I've added to this build is called Rixon's. It's a full hydronic heating system. It uses the coolant from the engine bay, but also its own coolant in the rear. This is the controller, and this controller allows you to run the whole system. So with the click of a button, I can turn the furnace on, I can turn air heat on, instant hot water, and also heated floors. On top of that, when it's cold out, I can also click a button and start preheating the engine before starting it. So it'll run its own coolant loop all the way to the engine, and it'll heat that up so I don't have to cold start. So it's a very complex system, and I thank Rixon's for making it very easy to install. I'm 24 years old and I've been building vans for just over 3 years now. And I actually got into this because I had been traveling the world full time and I wanted to continue doing that, but the pandemic started. So the best way was to buy a van, and I took it upon myself to build the whole thing from start to finish. And that's just what got the ball rolling for building these vans. Every van has gotten more and more complex and more tailored to my lifestyle and the adventures I like to go on. With 6 friends and I, that van had the same garage you see here, except with 9 one wheels stacked all the way. My second van, we had all of our luggage in here, and I learned a lot through that about how to arrange everything in a van in order to utilize as much space as possible. Since that van, I have increased the cabinet space, decreased the living area. Each of these vans takes about 1,800 hours. It could be more, it could be a little less, but lots of hours are spent getting all of the little details refined, and I just get lost in every little section of the van. When I'm doing the floors, my whole reality is flooring. I spend 100 hours on floors and I forget I'm even building in a van. That's just why I really enjoy doing what I do. Welcome to my shower. For the shower head, I went with a Moen, and this allows 1.5 gallons per minute of water flow. For a shower head, that's not a lot, which is a good thing because I have 42 gallons of water in this van. Again, with the Rixson system, I have instant hot water. So as long as I have water in the tank, I have non-stop hot water. For the bathroom, I put the toilet in the shower. This is the Laveo dry flush toilet. It's just the easiest to manage. They are cartridges that when you push a button, it spins almost like cat litter, and it's all hands off, no compost, none of that. It's all in a trash bag. When you're done, you pull the trash bag closed, and it's just the easiest one to use. You do have to refill cartridges every time you run out, and that's the only downside because they can get a little costly. But if you're willing to spend that extra money, the convenience is just unmatched. I started this build in Washington, and we were going to this local tile store, and they had this really cool Italian tile design. I knew I had to put it in the van, and it just really adds some life to this tiny little area. So I decided to put the shower in the corner of this van, but I also added a second door, so it's a fully walk-through shower. So you walk through directly to the cab. It just opens up so much more space for the rest of the van to be able to utilize the front and still have access to the main cabin. Welcome to the lounge area. In every van I've ever built, I've had this lounge area, and the Happy Jack has been above. And this time it's actually smaller than any lounge I've built in the past. I shrunk the bed space to increase the counter space, and in order to accommodate me sleeping at 6'1" with a shorter bed space, I added capsules to the outside of the van, and that gives me an extra 9 inches from side to side sleeping. Here I have the Lagoon table. On the bench I have 2 outlets. Both have USB and USB-C ports. I would say this is one of the first vans I've actually put a lot of thought into design, and honestly I could thank Abby for that. She read some articles about design and color tones. I was choosing my cushion color, and I chose a green, and I paid to have them sewed, and when I put them in, it just felt like Scooby-Doo to me, and I knew I just made a mistake. I ended up going to Joann's and buying a sewing machine, and Abby found this fabric that plays perfectly with the wall texture. I ended up sewing these cushions myself. Another cool feature in this van is this JBL soundbar. I've also put this in every van that I've ever built, and the reason being because off the ends of the soundbar are these little pilot speakers, and you don't have to hardwire these in. They run off of Bluetooth to the main bar, and that is how I ended up finding these. And I can put these anywhere in the van, inside, outside, if I'm having a party outside, or I can flip the projector and show that outside, but these go right up here to give you a full surround sound experience, whether you're listening to music or watching a movie. One of the most important things to take into consideration when building a space like this, especially a small one, is lighting. I took every chance I could to add lighting everywhere in this van, including these bump-ins in the rear, and then I ran some LED strips in between the slats as well. And for the ceiling, we have 1/4-inch walnut slats, and all of these slats are grain matched, and that just adds to the overall aesthetic of this van. All right, welcome to the bed area. This is the bed all the way down. This is if you're just gonna be sleeping with you or one other person. The bed sits perfectly flush with the backrests of the cushion, and then I have a 1-inch memory foam pad in the bump outs, so you're sleeping side to side. I really wanted this space to feel like a cave, so instead of doing slats on the ceiling above the bed, I decided to keep it consistent with the Roman clay. The finish I chose, it's a limestone paint hybrid, and you put it on with a putty knife, and you just do layer after layer after layer, sanding in between each one. And that's what gives it this cool marbly effect, and it actually is like smooth to the touch. Right above where you sleep, we have a skylight. This is the Arctic Turn skylight. It's an electric skylight. Also has a blackout screen and a bug screen on there as well. So if you have friends that are going to be staying over, you can raise this bed and stop it at any level. And then I have some boards to connect the bench area, and it all comes together. So you can sleep 2 in this bed, 2 down below, and then I actually have a roof tent on top to sleep 2 more. The flooring in this van is actually custom made. I was looking for a chevron design with walnut, and I just couldn't seem to find what I was looking for. I ended up getting my own planer and joiner, and I made my own tongue and groove chevron floor. Every single piece you see here was made separately, 1 piece at a time. I have about 100 hours just into the floors. Every van I've ever built has one thing that kind of intimidates me, and that threshold just keeps going higher and higher. And it seems simple, but this floor was that. It intimidated me the whole time up until the point that I finally decided it was time to make these floors. In all of my vans, I have been known to do pretty big electrical systems, and in this one we have 1200 amp hours of Volthium batteries. There are 3 400 amp hour self-heating batteries. Also, I have a 12-volt cruise and comfort air conditioner, and I need to be able to run that for over 30 hours without needing a charge, without running your air conditioning on high, and just using the basic necessities of your van. You can be off-grid for 1 to 2 weeks with this setup. I just wanted to give all of the creature comforts of home right here in a van. If any of you guys are going to be doing electrical on your own, definitely buy yourself cable clamps to assort all of your cables. You don't want these shaking around. And just take the time to make the space look good. Lay everything out without mounting it, or mount it but don't wire anything up. And make sure that you just make this space look clean and accessible. You don't want your wires on top of each other for heat reasons. You have to make sure that your batteries are secured. Don't forget to add fans into your benches as well. This space really heats up, especially when the inverter is on. And if you're hooked up to shore power and you don't have a fan, just say goodbye to your electrical system. I built my first van, and I was actually able to profit a little bit off of that. So I rolled that right into a brand new Sprinter, and I just financed that, and I was able to build a little better of a van. And then that one sold, and then the ball just kept rolling. I make a little profit on each van, and then I just pour that all back into my next project. And that's what I like to do. I work 7 days a week, about 8 to 10 hours a day. I do take breaks every now and then, but it's mostly just work. So I really just enjoy this lifestyle. It's a lifestyle, it's not work. I know I call it work, but it's really just a lifestyle. I just enjoy having my own space on the road and being able to pack everything up and go anywhere I want in the States. Another reason I love being in a van is because it just allows me so many freedoms in life. One being the ability to up and leave and go on an adventure if I come up with an idea or a friend comes up with an idea. Sometimes I've hopped on flights same day notice to go to Europe just for a good time, and I'm able to do that thanks to this lifestyle. Right in the slider door, we have the garage space. It's all lined with neoprene, which is the same things that wetsuits are made of, and it is anti-mold. It's just resistant to water. I have an arm cut out right here, so when the door is closed, I can reach through and click the button like this. This is the garage that had 9 one-wheels in it. Right now, we just have one, all charging off of this little outlet. And that's one thing you can do with this, but there's a number of other things like surfboards, skis, snowboards. Welcome to the exterior. This van is fully loaded inside and out. I have 2 ladders to get myself onto the roof. That is where the tent and the solar panels are. On the top of the tent, I have 520 watts of solar, and I was able to find solar panels that fit the width and the length perfectly. This summer, a couple of friends and I will be biking around Iceland, the ring road, and I will be able to park my van and not have to worry about any payments or bills. And that's just a luxury that comes with living in a van. If any of you guys are considering living in a van or a school bus, I definitely recommend just taking that leap. You'll find out very quickly whether you like it or not, and the odds are that you will probably end up liking it. And it's actually just the start of the rest of your life. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys want to find more information about me and my van, you can find me on Instagram at Ravizza. And then I also have this van on my website, and that website is Ravizza Luxury Vans. If you guys are interested on getting out on the road, feel free to shoot me a message.